This man, who just signed a $300 million contract, has a surprising true identity. He's actually a high school student. A few hours ago, he returned to Seoul by private helicopter and then arrived at the company headquarters in a casual four-wheel vehicle. Because of the massive deal he signed, the chairman personally presented him with flowers and a grand welcome. But the next moment, he had to rush back to school for classes. His name is Min Seok, a prominent figure at school and the star of the ice hockey team, adored by countless fans. That evening, while taking the bus home, Min Seok encountered a drunk woman. She was on the phone with her boss, who was clearly someone she had a crush on. Just as she was speaking passionately, her phone suddenly died. She awkwardly borrowed Min Seok's phone, but, in her drunken state, took it with her when she got off the bus. By the time Min Seok realized, the bus had already started moving again. Left with no choice, he quickly jumped off the bus to chase after her, but she had vanished. Eventually, he found her on the roadside. The woman, named Soo Young, had just attended a company gathering and confessed her feelings to her longtime crush, only to be rejected. After retrieving his phone, Min Seok initially planned to leave. However, as a responsible person, he called Soo Young's boss to inform him of her situation and location. Soon after, her boss arrived, and Min Seok quietly left the scene. Soo Young's boss, Jun-yo, appeared charming on the surface, but was a cunning and manipulative person deep down. Despite this, his father, the company chairman, held little regard for him. The next morning, Soo Young woke up to find herself at Jun-yo's house. Remembering her embarrassing behavior the night before, she wished she could disappear on the spot. Panicked, she hurried to leave, but just as she was about to go, the chairman appeared at the door. In desperation, she grabbed her shoes and hid in the bathroom. While hiding, she overheard one of Jun-yo's secrets. Back at the office, Jun-yo called Soo Young in. Before Jun-yo could say anything, Soo Young quickly promised to keep his secret between his father and him. However, Jun-yo's expression was far from pleased. On the other side, Min Seok received a call informing him that his older brother was returning home soon. When Min Seok got home, his brother was nowhere to be seen. Later that night, as Min Seok was dreaming, he got a call from his brother. Due to their striking resemblance, his brother asked Min Seok to go to his new company and pretend to be him, without explaining why. He simply said he was in a terrible situation and abruptly hung up. The next day, as Min Seok was about to participate in the high school ice hockey tournament, he received another text from his brother. Remembering his brother's cryptic words, Min Seok hesitated at the bus door, then suddenly turned around and ran off. The next moment, Min Seok transformed from a high schooler in casual wear to a dashing young man in a suit. But don't get the wrong idea. He was just impersonating his brother as the company's department head. Following his brother's instructions, Min Seok nervously entered the company building. As soon as he stepped into the office area, he was surrounded by a group of admiring female employees. Finally retreating to the office, Min Seok breathed a sigh of relief. Pretending to be someone else was no easy task. When team leader Kim came to see him, he mistook him for his brother. After Min Seok clumsily explained the situation, team leader Kim was so shocked that his legs nearly gave out. He then brought him to manager Han's office, and after some discussion, they decided Min Seok would temporarily take over his brother's role as department head. Just then, the chairman unexpectedly walked in. Luckily, Min Seok stayed calm under pressure and answered the chairman's questions with confidence, leaving a great impression. On his way back to the office, Min Seok was invited to Jun-yo's office. Jun-yo wanted to test him and gauge his abilities, but Min Seok, being a complete novice, runs random nonsense. To Jun-yo, however, it sounded profound, leaving him with the impression that Min Seok was genius. Back at his office, Min Seok suddenly realized that Soo Young worked there too, and she was actually one of his subordinates. Calling Soo Young to his office, he shamelessly asked her to grab him a burger. This trivial task left the other female colleagues envious. When Soo Young returned with the burger, Min Seok cheekily tried to pay her back with just a piece of gum. Min Seok went as far as abusing his authority to force Soo Young to watch him eat the burger. As he ate, he casually threw out questions, leaving Soo Young utterly uncomfortable. I imagine Soo Young must have been wishing the ground would just swallow her up. Meanwhile, as Min Seok was blissfully enjoying himself, manager Han and Jun-yo were in a serious discussion about how to deal with his growing influence. Elsewhere, Min Seok's devoted fangirl, Yua, discovered his whereabouts. Using the secret tracking feature she had installed on his phone, she was determined to track him down. Through the GPS, Yua realized Min Seok was at none other than her sister's company. Turns out, everyone's connected in this small world. After hearing some office gossip, Min Seok prepared to head home, but as soon as he stepped out of the company building, he spotted Yua in the distance. This sparked a wild chase. As the star player of the ice hockey team, Min Seok runs effortlessly, but Yua managed to keep up surprisingly well. Min Seok suddenly bumped into Soo Young. Without a second thought, he grabbed her and dragged her behind a door. The scene was absolute madness, leaving both of them completely confused. Little did they know, Junyo was watching everything unfold from afar. That evening, Min Seok rushed to attend the hockey match, but thanks to being delayed by Yua's antics, his team lost the game. Days of switching identities left him so exhausted that he collapsed the moment he got home each night. The next day at work, Min Seok grabbed the company credit card from team leader Kim. 1 second, he swore he wouldn't misuse it. The next, he was treating his team to a lavish meal. Later, during a project meeting, Junyo was passionately presenting his proposal. However, his father, the chairman, dismissed it, showing clear dissatisfaction with his plan. At that moment, a casual remark from Min Seok caught the chairman's attention. Upon the chairman's request, Min Seok boldly shared his idea. To everyone's surprise, the chairman not only approved but also assigned the project to Min Seok. Although Junyo outwardly complied, he stormed into his office afterward, angry. For Min Seok, a sports jock who didn't even know how to use PowerPoint, the task gave manager Han an instant headache. Left with no other choice, Min Seok handed over the task of creating the presentation to Soo Young. When the other female employees heard they would be working closely with the department head, they were consumed with jealousy. However, working with Min Seok was far from fun, as they soon realized. For instance, during their work session, Min Seok would stop halfway to eat a burger. Barely 5 minutes later, he dragged Soo Young to the rooftop for some exercise. If the rooftop had an entry fee, it would make a fortune from the absurd sight of these two fools working out together. Finally, the day of the project bid arrived, but Min Seok almost missed it due to a hockey match. Just when everyone assumed he will not come, Min Seok made an entrance that left everyone speechless. His captivating presentation wowed the audience, earning unanimous approval. The project contract was signed on the spot. While everyone celebrated, Junyo remained gloomy. Afterward, to apologize for making Soo Young look bad in front of Junyo earlier, Min Seok insisted she punch him. But that unexpected punch had him wincing in pain like his head had been smashed in a door. After making peace, the two shared drinks and chatted. However, Soo Young ended up getting drunk again. Her emotional outburst startled Min Seok so much that he silenced her with a kiss. Meanwhile, Yua treated Min Seok's friends to a barbecue feast, bribing them to help investigate his whereabouts. The next day, as Min Seok arrived at the office, he was shocked to see his two best friends suddenly appear in front of him. At this moment, Junyo appeared once again, complicating matters. 3 high school students were unexpectedly invited by an older man to a karaoke room, where his sole intention was to persuade Min Seok to join his company as a department head. To ensure his friends would keep his secret, Min Seok treated them to a spending spree. Returning to his brother's residence, Min Seok received a call from an unknown number. He decided to meet the caller with his friends in tow. During their conversation, they discovered that the man was from a rival company. After dinner, the older man took them back to a karaoke room. While Min Seok hesitated, his two friends couldn't hold back their excitement, not realizing that their actions would land Min Seok in trouble. Their meeting at the karaoke room was spotted by a company executive who reported it to the chairman. The next morning, chaos erupted in the company. Junyo's project proposal had been leaked, and the executive who saw Min Seok informed the chairman. A special investigation team was formed to uncover the truth. When Min Seok arrived at the office, the once friendly team members treated him coldly. Soo Young later revealed that everyone suspected Min Seok was the leaker. However, the investigation uncovered a lead that pointed to team leader Yoon. As gossip spread among the team, Soo Young stood up for leader Yoon, impressing Min Seok with her courage. During the investigation, leader Yoon denied the allegations, leading to a heated argument with Jun-yo. Thankfully, Min Seok arrived just in time to handle the situation. The chairman arrived unexpectedly. It was revealed that a malicious third party was responsible for the leak, clearing up the misunderstanding. That night, Min Seok, Soo-young, and Yoon went out for drinks to celebrate the resolution. However, Min Seok suddenly remembered his date with Yoo-ah. Rushing to meet her, he found her waiting for a long time. Min Seok soon noticed that Yoo-ah seemed unwell. Though she denied it, she suddenly collapsed. Min Seok carried her on his back and rushed her to the hospital, notifying Yoo-ah's sister on the way. Fortunately, after her sister arrived, she successfully underwent treatment and was in stable condition. Meanwhile, Min Seok, having received an urgent call from home, left in a hurry, causing them to miss each other. The next day, Min Seok sought out Jun-yo to apologize for his impulsive behavior. Though Jun-yo outwardly accepted the apology, his expression hinted at deeper resentment. Elsewhere, while the team celebrated Yoon's reinstatement, Soo-young received a dismissal notice from the company. Later, Min Seok found her crying alone on the rooftop. At the cafeteria, a fight broke out between two department heads, but the team members seemed unfazed, enjoying the chaos. Furious over Soo-young's unfair termination, Min Seok stormed into the chairman's office. However, he was blocked by manager Kim and ended up arguing heatedly with him. Returning to the office, Min Seok found that Soo-young had already left. He chased after her but missed her by moments. Back at the office, he discovered a notebook she had forgotten. Seizing the opportunity, he sent her a message. However, Soo-young, overwhelmed with frustration, was unresponsive. While anxiously awaiting a reply, Min Seok was summoned by the chairman and informed that he would be collaborating with Jun-yo on a new company project. The day grew more chaotic when his two friends dragged him and his female colleagues to dinner. At the table, his friends' social skills got out of hand as they pretended to be high-ranking elites, leaving Min Seok in despair. The next day, exhausted, Min Seok snuck to the rooftop to nap, accidentally overhearing the true reason behind Soo-young's dismissal. It turned out to be a scheme orchestrated by none other than Jun-yo. Enraged, Min Seok confronted Jun-yo in his office, leading to a heated argument. This tension spilled over into a company meeting, where the two clashed verbally in front of everyone. While trying to outsmart Min Seok, Jun-yo blocked him from entering the elevator. Meanwhile, Soo-young encountered Min Seok's grandfather while searching for a new job. She kindly shared her lunch with him, and in gratitude, the grandfather gifted her a small ice puck as a token of appreciation. Min Seok later stumbled upon Soo-young working at a convenience store after her dismissal. Unfortunately, her troubles continued as she faced harassment from a rude customer, culminating in the customer slapping her. Min Seok stepped in, using a video recording to scare off the customer and resolve the situation. To lift Soo-young's spirits, Min Seok took her on a scooter ride through the city at night, shouting into the wind and letting go of their frustrations. Soon after, the company hosted its annual team-building event, while the activities aimed to improve collaboration between the two teams. Following the event, everyone gathered at a restaurant to celebrate. However, the harmony didn't last, as the two department heads ended up fighting near the restroom again, over Soo-young. The next day, during a critical meeting, while everyone awaited Min Seok's arrival, he made a dramatic entrance by bringing Soo-young back. This unexpected move shocked the room, signaling a turning point in both Min Seok and Soo-young's journeys. But Soo-young refuses to stay back. She apologized to Min Seok and leaves. After Min Seok resigned, he chose to leave, but team leader Kim was deeply dissatisfied with his decision. When Min Seok was ready to walk away completely, team leader Kim tried to persuade him to stay. Their heated conversation was overheard by Jun-woo, who became suspicious and reached out to his friends to investigate Min Seok. Meanwhile, Soo-young faced trouble of her own. Due to being late to her shift, she lost her convenience store job and was once again unemployed. While looking for new opportunities, she received an unexpected call from her mother, who announced she wanted to visit her at work. Luckily, Soo-young ran into Min Seok on the way, and her secret about being jobless remained safe. After a night, Soo-young decided to return to the company and accepted the position as Min Seok's secretary. At the same time, Jun-woo began acting friendly toward her, even inviting her to dinner. Although Soo-young intended to politely decline through text, Leader Kim informed Min Seok that the company president wanted him to attend a critical meeting at 7 p.m. However, a colleague accidentally dropped the meeting note, and Min Seok left without it. Soo-young rushed to catch up with him but was too late. Determined, she borrowed a delivery driver's motorbike and chased Min Seok through 10 streets, finally catching up to him and bringing him back to the company in time. After returning to her office, Soo-young realized that her text message to decline Jun-woo's invitation had not been sent. She rushed to the meeting place, arriving just as Jun-woo was about to leave. He invited her again, and this time, Soo-young agreed. The two shared dinner at Jun-woo's home, but Soo-young had no idea that Jun-woo was the mastermind behind her dismissal from the company. As she made her way home afterward, Soo-young was reluctantly forced to accept Jun-woo's gift, and the next morning, the two crossed paths at work. They casually mentioned the previous night, unaware that Min Seok overheard everything. This left Min Seok fuming with jealousy. Throughout the day, he tried various ways to stop Soo-young's interactions with Jun-woo, intent on keeping them apart. Despite Min Seok's relentless efforts and heartfelt warnings, Soo-young seemed indifferent, brushing off his concerns. That evening, as Min Seok walked the streets, he once again saw Jun-woo dropping Soo-young off at home. The sight deeply upset him, leaving him frustrated and unable to express his feelings. He stormed over to Soo-young, venting his emotions. He asked for just 10 seconds of her time, but his words were as unclear as his feelings. The encounter left Soo-young surprised. The next day, to diffuse the awkwardness, Min Seok embracing everyone he came across, even the delivery guy. Meanwhile, Jun-woo visited his mother at her nursing home. Seeing her exhausted appearance brought back memories of his childhood. Learning from the staff that her condition was worsening, he suggested that his father visit her. However, his father coldly rejected the idea, leaving Jun-woo heartbroken. Soo-young happened to pass by. Noticing his distress, she approached him, but Jun-woo dismissed her concern by attributing it to a common cold. Later, Soo-young visited Jun-woo at his home to check on him. During their conversation, she learned that his birthday was on Sunday. Although Saturday was scheduled for the company's team-building event, Soo-young couldn't help but think of how to celebrate his special day. Soon, the day of the team-building event arrived. After departing, the group stopped at a rest area, but Soo-young, helping a lost child find their mother, was left behind. She stood helplessly at the service area while her co-workers continued their journey, oblivious to her absence, until they reached their destination. Upon realizing Soo-young was missing, Min Seok insisted on riding with Jun-woo to pick her up. When they found her, Min Seok finally understood what it meant to be the third wheel. Fortunately, all three made it back in time for dinner. Midway through the evening, Jun-woo received a call from his friend with the results of an investigation into Min Seok. Rather than exposing him immediately, Jun-woo waited for an opportunity. During Soo-young's surprise birthday celebration for him, revealing a darker side, Jun-woo lashed out, insulting both Soo-young and her connection with Min Seok. He even confessed the truth behind her previous job termination. The revelation shattered Soo-young's perception of him, and she quietly left. Not long after, Jun-woo received a call from Min Seok. At the same moment, his doorbell rang. Soo-young had returned. Overwhelmed by emotions, Soo-young confronted Jun-woo, expressing her anger and despair at his betrayal. Meanwhile, Min Seok, hearing part of the confrontation over the phone, panicked and rushed to find her. As Soo-young wandered the city streets, memories of Min Seok's kindness and replayed in her mind. Under the glow of a streetlight, the two finally crossed paths. Their reunion, filled with unresolved tension and unspoken words. Min Seok kissed her, revealing his feelings for her. Soo-young, surprised by Min Seok's action, ran away from him. The following day, Min Seok, desperate for answers, tried every tactic to reach Soo-young, from heartfelt text messages to office conversations. Their complicated feelings continues, leaving both unsure of what lay ahead. The next day, Min Seok blocked Soo-young in the office, refusing to let her go. Feeling confused, Soo-young finally admitted her reasons for not being able to accept him. She explained that she had already seen someone else, and despite her feelings, she couldn't be with Min Seok. Min Seok was left speechless, unable to respond to her heartfelt explanation. After a moment of venting, he seemed to let go of his frustrations and came to terms with the situation. Later, Min Seok went to a team training session and left the office after a successful performance. To avoid suspicion from his colleagues, team leader Kim told everyone that Min Seok had gone on a business trip to Osaka. However, when the news broke about a major earthquake in Osaka, Soo Young's anxiety spiked. She desperately tried calling Min Seok, but he was unreachable, as he was in the middle of his training. Meanwhile, Junwoo returned to the nursing home to visit his mother, only to be informed that she was missing. She had gone to his father's office. Fortunately, Junwoo arrived just in time to ensure her safe departure. At home, Junwoo reflected on the birthday cake Soo Young had given him, and the words she had spoken that day began to disturb something within him. Around the same time, Min Seok's colleagues finally reached out to confirm that he was safe after the earthquake, easing Soo Young's worry. However, she remained unaware that Min Seok had been injured during training. As the days went by, Min Seok's coach made a comment that would make him reconsider his actions, and Min Seok began to reflect on his decisions. Soo Young, still concerned for his well-being, found herself searching for excuses to check on him. However, as she walked, she suddenly paused, her thoughts racing. As Soo Young stood at the airport, holding up an OK sign, waiting for Min Seok, she was filled with both excitement and nervousness. However, just as she was about to leave, she received a message from him, the two, now on the edge of being together. Just when Min Seok disappeared from her sight, he suddenly appeared from behind, wrapping his arms around her. The couple's relationship, once uncertain, now seemed to bloom in full force. Their love was everywhere, in their playful exchanges in the office, in the teasing moments on the rooftop, and even during their lunch dates. However, when their colleagues made plans for a weekend hiking trip, Min Seok and Soo Young each came up with excuses to avoid attending, preferring to spend their time alone. While in the bathroom, Soo Young overheard her colleagues talking about their first dates. This conversation made her feel a bit shy as she realized that Min Seok and her were planning a weekend trip to Ireland. Since it was Soo Young's first relationship, she felt like a novice in the world of dating. Eager to prepare, she posted a question on a forum and received a common reply: buy new intimate clothes. Flustered, she hurried to a specialty store after work and bought everything she could. At home, she nervously prepared herself, even feeling anxious about it in her dreams, where she couldn't stop smiling. The two sisters were praising their respective boyfriends, not realizing they were talking about the same man. That day, Junwoo visited Min Seok's office and saw an email from his brother. Just as he was about to investigate further, leader Kim's unexpected arrival interrupted him. After sending Kim away, Junwoo returned to the computer, but the email was already gone. Min Seok, on a date with Soo Young. Later, the couple strolled hand in hand and stopped at a fortune teller. The reading hinted at future obstacles in their relationship, but Min Seok dismissed it. While out, they met Min Seok's friend and later shared details of their relationship with others. The next day, Soo Young delivered files to the chairman and witnessed Junwoo pleading with his father. That evening, Junwoo had a car accident, and Soo Young offered to drive him home, only to face Junwoo's unwanted advances in the parking lot. The next day, Junwoo revealed the incident, angering Min Seok, who punched him. A drunken Junwoo retaliated, causing a public fight. Realizing the situation was escalating, Min Seok decided to confess his truth to Soo Young, but she got drunk before he could. His chance to reveal the truth slipped away. During a school meeting, Soo Young, attending as her sister Yuya's guardian, ran into Min Seok's friends who awkwardly tried to avoid her. She left, but quickly returned, catching her sister calling Min Seok. At the school gate, Soo Young, Min Seok, and Yuya all met face-to-face, and the sisters finally realized their boyfriends were the same person. Soo Young was caught off guard when she discovered that the man she was dating was actually a student who was 10 years younger than her, and the same one her younger sister had feelings for. In shock, Soo Young wandered aimlessly through the streets, oblivious to an oncoming car, only narrowly avoiding an accident thanks to a timely intervention by a friend. When she got to work, her mind was in turmoil. She made several mistakes, including answering a call for her colleague incorrectly and sitting on a male co-worker's lap. Meanwhile, her sister, now aware of the truth, was left in stunned disbelief. The next day, when Min Seok arrived at the office, he found a resignation letter from Soo Young. The letter, titled, "The world is so big, I want to see it," she had stumbled upon a notebook detailing Min Seok's feelings for her, written by her younger sister. Devastated, Soo Young boarded a bus back to her hometown, blocking Min Seok's number and leaving a brief message for her sister. After Soo Young's departure, Min Seok was unable to focus on his work, and he made a critical mistake on a project, earning the wrath of the chairman. Meanwhile, Soo Young's knowledge of the chairman's relationship with Jun Yo became an issue. The chairman instructed the staff to find a reason to fire her, but Jun Yo intervened. Later that evening, Jun Yo met Soo Young's younger sister, and, with her encouragement, formed a plan to win Soo Young's heart. Soon after, while Soo Young was playing with some children, Jun Yo unexpectedly appeared. However, before they could talk, Jun Yo received a call from the hospital. His mother had attempted to take her own life, and Jun Yo rushed to help. Fortunately, his timely assistance saved his mother. That night, Jun Yo visited Soo Young again, apologizing for her previous actions and confessing his feelings. Soo Young, caught off guard by the confession, was visibly uncomfortable. However, Min Seok witnessed this from a distance. As he saw Soo Young gently place her hand on Jun Yo's back, his heart shattered, and he quietly walked away. Despite Jun Yo's embrace, Soo Young ultimately rejected him. After an unexpected encounter with Min Seok while he was looking for his grandfather, Soo Young, with Min Seok's convincing, decided to return to her job. However, she came up with a new tactic to distance herself from him. To make it clear that their relationship was purely professional, she insisted that Min Seok call her sister whenever they were alone together. She would remind him repeatedly in any situation. Min Seok, frustrated and unwilling, finally complied. To make sure he wouldn't misinterpret her intentions, Soo Young also actively spent time with Jun Woo, even accompanying him to visit his mother in the hospital. Meanwhile, Min Seok's life was taking a turn for the worse. During a match, an intentional foul by his opponent left Bis with a severe shoulder injury leading to surgery. When he was discharged from the hospital, he was informed that he could no longer continue playing sports, shattering his dreams. And his friends, unsure of how to help, could only watch as he silently packed his things. Despite the situation, he didn't shed a single tear. Min Seok disappeared without a trace, and no matter how hard his teammates searched, they couldn't find him. Eventually, they located him on the training field, where he was trying to hold on to his resolve. However, a sudden downpour overwhelmed him, washing away both her dreams and her resolve. As the rain soaked his face, his tears mixed with the rain, and he couldn't hold back any longer. He broke down in tears, and even his friends couldn't help but cry with him. Back at home, Soo Young was packing her bags. She hoped that by leaving, she could finally let go of Min Seok and move on. In the midst of everything, Soo Young's sister made a difficult decision to reveal Min Seok's illness to her. Despite her intention to keep it a secret, she finally shared the truth with Soo Young, causing a shift in her heart. Just as Min Seok was about to leave for work, Soo Young was already waiting for him at the school gate. With open arms, she embraced Min Seok, bringing them closer than ever. Later, as Min Seok and Soo Young reconciled and moved forward, Soo Young's sister decided to end her partnership with Jun Woo. She also made amends with her sister. Min Seok then confessed to group leader Kim and the male director about his relationship with Soo Young, and their alliance was officially formed. However, things didn't stay calm for long. One day after work, Min Seok accidentally ran into Jun Woo while wearing his school uniform at the elevator. Despite Soo Young pleading with Jun Woo to keep the secret, this incident left the members of the fake alliance nervous, as they were trying to figure out how to handle the situation. At the same time, Soo Young sought Jun Woo to ensure his silence, but Jun Woo suddenly collapsed. Prolonged use of psychiatric medication and insomnia had taken a toll on his health. Soo Young called Min Seok to help, and the next morning, the two woke up in the same bed. Despite their rivalry, Min Seok prepared breakfast for Jun Woo. Min Seok accidentally took Jun Woo's phone and discovered his connection to the chairman. The two struck a deal to keep each other's secrets. While walking through the streets, Min Seok suddenly stops and tells Seo Young that he will go to Germany to study with his brother. He leaves a final kiss on Seo Young's forehead before walking away. But soon after, Seo Young grabs his shirt and asks him to marry her before going to Germany, shocking Min Seok. The next day, a colleague unexpectedly sees Seo Young's text and learns that they are getting married. Everyone is shocked. That night, Min Seok proposes to Seo Young with a huge bag of popcorn. Later, during the family gathering, Min Seok's father, with a big heart, agrees to their marriage. Min Seok's friends are envious, but not for the reasons you might think. They're jealous that Min Seok, as a high school student, will now legally be able to drive them crazy. When Min Seok takes Seo Young home that evening, they are spotted by her mother, who, upon hearing that Min Seok, the department head, is marrying her daughter, is overjoyed. On the wedding day, friends and family arrive, but the bride and groom are nowhere to be seen. This is the most rushed wedding I've ever seen. The groom is 18 years old, the bride is 28. The vows are skipped, the parents' speeches are cut short, and the wedding song is halfway through when the newlyweds jump into a car, off to their honeymoon. 3 years later, Min Seok steps onto the stage of the National College competition. With an outstanding performance and incredible energy, he wins first place and receives an offer from a listed company. Min Seok may be young, but he boldly allows himself to follow his heart. In love, age is never the most important factor. What matters is the sincerity of your hearts. Thanks for watching. Drop a heart if you love the story.